Good morning, class. We're going to talk about the state budget process today. Which really isn't as bad as it sounds. And in fact, the state budget process, it affects every citizen in the state of Florida, and even those who just visit Florida are also affected by the budget. The budget process is so important. The General Appropriations Act, which is what the budget is also known as, is the only bill that the legislators are constitutionally mandated to pass every session. The budget process is a very lengthy process, even though we're just about 30 days, a little more than 30 days into the legislative session. The budget process began almost a year ago in July when the governor and the state leadership, the legislative leadership, submitted budget requests. Yes, Kwame.
Who is the legislative leadership again?
That's a great question. The legislative leadership refers to both the Speaker of the House, who currently is Richard Corcoran, and the President of the Senate, who is currently Joe Negron. And again, what they do, along with the governor, is they ask the state agencies, including the Department of Education and other state agencies, to submit a legislative budget request. So those agencies essentially take a few months and they delineate what it is that they need as an agency to function properly in the year ahead. The governor looks at the legislative budget request as economic forecasting to help him develop his request that he sends along to the legislators. Does anyone have an idea when the governor must submit his budget request by? Christina?
Sometime before the session?
Sometime before the session is correct. Specifically, Florida statute says the request must be submitted at least 30 days before the start of session. So then, during the session, both chambers of the legislature work on their version of the General Appropriations Act, which you'll remember is the official name for the budget, and they pass those through their respective chambers. Yes, Kwame.
How do the House and Senate agree on what goes in the budget?
That's a very good question. The House and the Senate form what is called a joint budget committee. There are members from both the House and the Senate on this committee. That joint committee then writes a conference report, which is voted on by both chambers. Christina.
What happens with issues that cannot be agreed upon?
All right, that's a really good question. A lot of what we might consider more minor budgetary issues are able to be agreed upon in the joint budget conference. For larger issues, like we know the Schools of Hope bill is not going to be agreed upon in the committee, so that gets bumped up to the respective Appropriations Committee chairs. And then the chair of each committee, they try to work something out. If that's unable to work, then it gets bumped up yet another level to the Speaker of the House or to the President of the Senate. Once the conference report comes out from the Joint Budget Conference Committee, there is a statutory 72-hour cooling off period. And what that does is that allows both the general public as well as all of the legislators to take a really close look at the budget. The budget is then voted on after that 72-hour cooling off period. That whole process normally starts in the last 5 to 6 days of the session, so we would expect that in late April or early May. Once it has been voted on, it goes to the governor's desk for a signature, though the governor does have the authority to do line item vetoes. It would require a 2/3 majority to overrule one of his vetoes.